今屆音展咧，樂新有2間展房，分別咧喺呢個 X03同埋 S426。咁而 X03咧主要開聲示範係個 Sim Audio 器材，同埋一個威豪喇叭。咁而呢個 S426咧就展示咗一個 Stan Agostino、Magical、Lodos 呢幾個品牌。咁啊，今次咧最先見到 Sim Audio 嘅代表啊，所以咧就先同佢咧做咗個訪問。咁啊，問佢哋咧最新推出嘅 Compass 系列同呢個 Lost 系列市場嘅定位啊。
So the Compass collection was launched at the end of last year, in October last year. And as you said, it was launched, the very first product was the 371 network player amplifier, network player amplifier. And we recently also launched part of the Compass collection, the 491 and the 461. So the Compass collection, obviously, we say it defines your musical journey. Why? Because the North was the first collection to be introduced. The North collection was introduced 3 years ago. The North collection, the reason we named the North collection is because when you look north or when you're looking for your way, we always say go toward north and you will always find the right direction, right? So what better way to use a compass, the Compass collection, to find the North collection? So basically that's how it works. So the Compass collection is the more entry-level products, and then the North collection is for the very high end.
Moon 嘅371咧係一部咧 All-in-One 嘅串流合併機，咁裏邊咧有啲咩技術嘅元素咧？
So the 371, so in general, the technologies that you will have inside the Compass collections are trickle-down technologies that come from the North collection. So for example, the MHP or the MDCA. Regarding the MHP, so the MHP is not a brand new technology because we've been using the MHP in some of our previous products. What the difference that it makes on the 371 is that this MHP is used not for pre-amplification but for full amplification. So this means that we had to change the design and the way the circuitry is made to sustain full amplification. So that's where the name remained the same, so MHP, but we have adjusted for full amplification.
Compass 系列咧會唔會有新嘅產品推出？咁同埋咧 Sim Audio 對於書名、CD、黑膠前景咧有啲咩嘅睇法？
So obviously there will be. So if I start from the end with your question, so with the Compass collection, obviously there will be new other products coming because at the moment we only have 3. It's already 3, but it's only 3 products. So there will be things coming soon. I cannot disclose what and when, but you can expect it like toward the end of this year. There will be something new coming. And regarding streaming, so obviously streaming, it's not a big news to anybody. It's becoming, and it's been becoming something bigger and bigger for the past years. You know, it's nothing new. More and more people use streaming because it's much easier as well, and there is a higher diversity of platforms to stream music from. So obviously we have to move with the changes. You need to adapt with the changes, otherwise there is no future. So obviously you have to adjust. So that's one of the reasons also we've rethought all of our philosophy around the products. One of the reasons why we have less products in the collection is because we want to make it easier for customers to approach the products, to set up the products, and also to use the products. Another thing, that streaming though is, as you say, it's the most used nowadays. But we've seen the past I would say 3-4 years that CD players in some markets are still quite relevant, and obviously vinyls are very trendy at the moment. So streaming is still at the top of the list, but vinyls and CDs are still not disliked by consumers.
之後咧又揾到威豪嘅 CEO， 咁問佢咧今次展出啲咩新嘅產品，有啲咩嘅特點啊？
First of all, I say I'm Lars Wenning. I'm working for Raido through many years. Raido brand is around 25 years old, and the latest new we launched now in the Hong Kong show is a new TD series, Signature series. We have 3 new models there, and the new X series we launched first time in Asia show. We have upgraded the new models with we use the new FoodTech terminals now in the Japanese FoodTech terminals. We use Nordost cabling inside. In the crossover, we use the best component from Mundorf from Germany, and we're using at the same time isoacoustic feeds for the new Rider speakers. And everything we make in-house. We make the drivers, we make the ribbon feeder, well-known ribbon feeder, we make in-house also in Denmark. So we are one of the only factory in the world that make everything in-house, so we can control everything.
咁又問下佢啦，見到咧佢哋嘅喇叭咧都比較窄身啊，都好適合香港嘅家居啊。不過咧低音單元嘅口徑就比較細啊。咁點樣咧可以喺細口徑嘅單元咧，又可以有比較強嘅低頻嘅表現力啊？
We start with around 6-inch drivers up to 10-inch drivers, because some market need demand of the 10-inch drivers also. So we have all possibilities, and many people, especially with the 10-inch, like a really deep bass. So I think it's more affordable with a 10-inch bass to make the really deep bass. But normally in this area we have a big market with the normal standard 6.5-inch and 8-inch drivers we're using. And we're using with the new membrane, we have 4 layers. We start with aluminium, and then we have ceramic, and then we have titanium and diamond coating. Everything in a process we make in Denmark and make it light and very stiff material. So 4 layers in this. And then we also have the new X series with the ceramic membrane. Still light and stiff membrane we're using. And then we have titanium on some models also. That means there are 3 layers. There's aluminium, ceramic and titanium. Also titanium, very strong material. This is one of the small crossovers we have. We call the model Rido X2T, but it's a small crossover we're using Valhalla technology from Nordost cabling on the rear side, and then we have the Mundorf components we're using in all our crossovers, and Nordost cabling we use in the most of our cabinets today, or in Valhalla 2, and you have optional to using Odin cabling also inside the cabinets. But we have a strong cooperation with the Nordost cabling from US.
除咗威豪之外咧，另外仲有一個咧 Scansonic 啊，呢兩個品牌咧到底有啲咩分別啊？係咪用同一班嘅設計工程師咧？
Scansonic is more the entry level. It starts from lower price, and when it stops, then Rido take over. So there's not competition between these companies, because it starts from a lower price entry and then going up to where Rido start in price level. The same design team make it, but of course not the same quality on ribbon tweeter. Yeah, because they have to be in the higher price level. So, but the same R&D, the same DNA we use in Scansonic, even to a lower price.
之後咧上到嘅 S426嘅展房啊，咁啊身為 Magical 嘅用家，咁啊當然啦，先要揾呢個 Magical 代表問問咧佢今次咧有啲乜嘢展出啊？
So the event today, hosted by Roxanne Trading, our distributor in Hong Kong, we're featuring the S7, which is a new flagship model for the S series. So now the S series is the S2, 3, 5, and 7, being the flagship. So we debuted this at Expona, first time in the US, Vienna, a few months back, and now in Hong Kong, China. So very exciting product.
佢哋嘅 S 系列咧最新嘅旗艦 S7咧，咁有啲咩特別啊？
Well, I mean, the sonic signature of the line, Magico in general, is very similar, although the S7 features the latest 8th generation cone materials that we're using for the 6-inch driver and the 310-inch drivers. We're also using newer components in the crossover, which are derived from the M series. So this is specific for the S7 as a flagship model. We're using a very unique bracing system internally, which is different from other S-Series models, more elaborate. Yeah, it's a very exciting product, and as a flagship piece, really presents at that level.
咁除咗 S7咧，將會有啲咩新嘅產品推出咧？
We're always working on new products, and I'm not at liberty to say much right at this interview, but there is a spot open below the M7 and somewhere between the S7 and M. So we are working on some new developments.
S 系列咧第3代咧都已經推出咗咧幾款嘅新產品啦。咁你哋覺得咧成唔成功啊？
Very much so. And the new S series, in its third generation, really shares a lot of M series product technology. So the performance level has elevated into the entry level M. So really you're getting M performance at an S series price point, but certainly the performance is nudging into M series territory, which we're excited about, and so is the audience.
鋁合金製作嘅聲箱咧，仍然有人咧會擔心咧聲音會硬啊。咁你哋有啲咩睇法啊？
So the one thing about aluminum is it does ring, but at a high frequency. And so at a high frequency, it's very easy to dissipate. So the dampable aspect of aluminum gets rid of resonances very fast. So we, in 2020, when we were finishing the M9, we invested in a laser Vibratron and the Klippel NFS system to optimize dispersion performance and also eliminate resonance storage from the enclosures using aluminum internal bracing and damping. So it's really the ideal medium or material to use for an enclosure that is designed to not store energy and allow optimized performance from the transducers.
Dan Agostino 咧最新推出咗呢個 Momentum C 單聲道後級，咁啊仲有其他器材咧都升級到呢個 C 技術啦。咁啊請為我哋嘅觀眾咧介紹一下。
Was introduced in January, the new Momentum mono amplifier called the Momentum Z. It introduced this Z technology. Z in electrical engineering is impedance. And impedance, everybody knows about speakers, 8 ohms, 4 ohms, 2 ohms, as the only thing impedance related in audio, but interaction or interfacing between components, circuits inside products, Z or impedance is hugely important. And in the Momentum Z, we started by flipping how Z or impedance is looked at in audio. Instead of going from low to high, we're going from high to low. The path of least resistance, the way current wants to flow, is how we are now addressing Z. The Momentum Z was such a great success sonically. It has been as well critically and our customers, that we decided we needed to expand this. The Momentum C2 preamplifier, we added the Z technology to that, and then we also did it in the Relentless. So the Relentless preamplifier is now the Relentless Z preamplifier, and the 800 and 1600 Relentless amplifiers are now the 800Z and the 1600Z, and those are replacements. That's the new option, but it is also an upgrade in that if a customer has the original Epic 1600 or the Relentless 800, we can bring the Z technology to them, and it's always been part of our culture, meaning if we are able to offer an upgrade in the existing platform that we have, we always do. We did it with the original Momentum amp twice, the original Momentum preamp once. We've done it with the Phonostate. It's always been part of who we are. Now, sometimes you can't. Sometimes the new design requires new architecture, new chassis, and we're not always able to do it. But when we can, we make sure we do.
知道大單嘅前級咧用咗 J-FET， 咁樣 J-FET 咧用喺呢個前級咧帶嚟乜嘢獨特嘅優勢？咁佢對聲音嘅表現咧有啲咩好處啊？
Right, J-FETs were never, we thought, good enough. The ones that were available, we never wanted to use. Then a new device came out, and we were very excited to use it. We started it in our Phonostage. We then added it to the Momentum HD preamplifier. That was part of the HD upgrade that I mentioned, that we upgraded the preamp. The C2 was really a fuller extension of this concept. The FETs have tremendous noise rejection, and isolation from the outside world. They also have fantastic current drive to the rest of the circuit. Every input has an output. You're talking about an input stage on a preamplifier, it still has an output, and that goes to the volume control, which then has an output to the output stage, which then has an output to the amplifier. The FETs, again, have this wonderful isolation, tremendous input impedance structure, as well as that great current drive to the rest of the circuit. Sonically, the level of detail at low volumes, because it has such isolation, the noise floor gets so much lower. So the resolution at low volumes, that's what most people notice. Definition in bass at low volumes, which usually disappears, and it's just thump. There's no real definition to it. That has really come alive by adding the FETs, and now that is part of everything we do. Even our entry-level Pendulum Integrated has the FET input stage, all the way to the Relentless Z preamp amplifier. The new Neo, Progression Neo, you mentioned that earlier, the Progression Neo has that. It is now the sonic signature, or the signature design element for all of our products.
全新嘅 Progression Neo 系列咧，有啲咩提升啊？
Well, the big change is what I just mentioned, is bringing the JFET, the FET input stage, to the amplifiers and the preamplifier. The current progression, or the previous generation, did not have any of that, all bipolar based. So yes, it has a lot of the top line technology from the Momentum or Relentless inside of the Progression Neo. Now it doesn't have all of it. Otherwise it would be a Momentum and not a Progression. So there are spots where, and it's one of the beautiful things about making these very reference level products. You really find out what it takes to go to the top of the mountain. Where were the most important steps? Some of them cost a lot of money to get this much. So when you're trying to be more accessible for more speakers, not just reference, maybe we take out that one that costs this much, and we don't put that in the Progression Neo. That's sort of how our engineering works. Now the FET was absolutely essential, and FETs are very expensive. They are an expensive transistor compared to a bipolar, way more expensive. But that we felt was absolutely critical to take from the Momentum, to take from the Relentless, and put in the new Progression Neo. That really was the sonic signature. But again, it doesn't have everything that the Momentum Z has, and of course not everything that the Relentless products have.
我喺維也納音響展咧，見到呢個 Progression Neo 系列咧，真係非常吸引啊！咁啊，相信咧都有唔少發燒同我一樣咧，想知道咧幾時會正式推出啊！
We are very excited about Progression Neo. The reaction in Vienna was extraordinary. The response from our accounts, from press, was just wow, a beautiful new design. They loved the sound. We were playing it live, and so the sound that we delivered was what people expected. To answer your question, in the US we expect to ship in September. We always ship in the US first, just keep it close to home in case something is wrong, and then we'll ship internationally in October. There are a lot of shows in October around the world, so we expect that'll be a very large month for us rolling out the Progression Neo. It is the first time in our history, which is part of the growth of the company, the sales growth of the company, that we can put more resources into engineering and development, and that we will introduce the amp and the preamp at the same time. In the past, the Momentum had the amp, then the preamp came. Relentless amp, then the preamp. Even the Progression was the amps and then the preamps. The Neo is now going to be the preamp and the amps at the same time, launching as a system. And again, in the past, we just didn't have the resources, the capability, either in engineering time, because developing preamps and amps are very different, and resources to spend money on prototypes, which are very expensive to do, cut metal, all of that stuff really takes a lot out of us. But again, the company has grown dramatically over the 15 years we've been doing this. This is our 15th anniversary, so we've had two huge launches in our 15th year. The Momentum Z, you could say three: the Momentum Z, then the Relentless Z, and now the Progression Neo. So it's been a spectacular year for us. But October is, everybody will have the product in by October.
今次咧 Lodos 咧有啲咩新產品咧帶到嚟香港啊？
I'm very happy to be here in Hong Kong. It's the vibe of Hong Kong is back. Obviously, I'm Bjorn from Nordost. we've been talking before, and we have a couple of very interesting new products. We got a Cubase Supreme Reference that we are displaying in the room 426 with our distributor Roxanne Trading. So that's our flagship power distribution, and we're very excited to have that up and running in the system and to be basically showing it live for the first time. We did show static products in Vienna earlier this year, but now it's time for the live presentation. So as far as I'm concerned, this is the debut for that product.
我哋啱啱咧就試聽完呢個 QB10 Reference 啊，咁呢個最新推出嘅 QB10 Supreme Reference 咧，同我之前試呢個 QB10 Reference 咧有啲咩分別啊？
Yeah, the Supreme Reference and the QB10, yeah, there is actually quite a bit of a difference. The QB10, everything that we have in the QB10 is in the new Supreme Reference, all the goodies. We have a unique way of dealing with the ground system, and we also have active components, which is basically called Q-Sign and Q-Wave inside. But the addition for the Supreme Reference is that everything internal is wired with the O2 power cord. The actual power cord that we sell on the side is inside. So every single conductor inside the Supreme Reference is wired with that. We also have made a unique high current system so that the inlet, we only sell this with 32 amp connectors, PowerCon. So that means that we can assure you a throughput for two of the outputs to allow for the highest current delivery that you can possibly think of. Basically the equivalent of going straight to the wall.
除咗啱啱提到呢個電源分配器之外咧，你哋仲有啲咩新嘅產品推出啊？
We have a couple of things that we introduced in Vienna, but we haven't actually been able to finish the bulk production of that. So we have a couple of pre-production units. It's a new Q-Source 2, and it is also our take on a DAC cable. And in Nordos language, DAC is not digital analog conversion, it is direct attached copper. So, which means that we basically make our own SFP module and we directly attach our cable to that module. The module is made by us, so it's not something we buy from somebody else. Unfortunately, we don't have the cable ready for this show, but it'll be ready later this autumn.
你哋對於線材咧不斷創呢個高價咧有啲咩睇法啊？
In a sense, I would admit that we have been in the forefront of pushing the limits for products. When we introduced Valhalla some 25 years ago, nobody had heard of that price tag for a speaker cable or an interconnect for that matter. But we also push the limits in what the cable can be done or can do and what can be heard of a cable exchange. So even though we push limits in price tags, we also push limits in performance. So like when we introduced the Odin Gold, which was by far the most expensive product we have ever introduced, we also had by far a concept that nobody else had been able to produce. A utopia for us, a cost is no object project basically to do that. And the price point of having, there is a lot of gold involved in a Odin Gold product. The conductors are gold plated. The shield is gold plated because a lot of people don't understand how much the shield actually contributes to the performance. And a gold-plated shield is different compared to a silver-plated shield. So there's a lot of gold. Long story short, there is a lot of gold, and that actually indicates the price tag. You can't use a lot of gold and have a cheap product.